You have done it. You have outlasted all of the statistics lessons, and this is the final one. We will be summarizing data using measures of center and measures of spread. You will be comparing different data sets using these measures of center, including the mean, which is your average, and the median, which is the middle. The measures of spread we will be discussing are the range, where you will take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number from a data list, and your interquartile range, where we'll be using the upper quartile and subtracting the lower quartile from it. If you haven't noticed yet, the theme of today's lesson is Survivor. So we will be using measures of center to compare the ages of the contestants on the last 2 seasons of Survivor. We have Season 40, Survivor Winners at War, which is currently being aired on Wednesday nights. It's a great one. If you haven't watched it yet, I definitely would recommend it. You can go back and watch those episodes from the beginning. And then last season's other great season of Island of the Idols. Here you can see the contestants that are on Season 40 Winners at War. We're going to first analyze their data and find their mean and median and compare it to the ages of the contestants on Season 39. In yellow there, you can see that I've put each of the contestants' ages for you. And remember that one of the most important things to do when we're analyzing data in a set is to first number them from least to greatest. So there you go. There at the bottom, you can see our youngest contestant is age 28 and the oldest contestant is 48 years of age. You can also tell by looking at this grid or the list that there's 20 numbers in our data set. That's going to be important to finding both our mean and median. The mean, if you remember, is when we add all of the numbers together and divide by how many numbers we have. And in this case, since we have 20, we will be dividing by 20. So you can add, if you want to pause and do it yourself, but if you add all of these numbers together, you'll see that the sum of that information is 756, which you will then divide by the number of contestants, which is 20, and discover that the mean age of the contestants on Season 40, or the average age of these contestants, is 37.8 years old. Now we're going to find the median. Remember that the median is really just a fancy way of saying the middle. Because I know that we have 20 numbers in this list, I'm going to find the median by highlighting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of information on that side, and 10 pieces of information over here, because I know the middle is going to fall right in between those two. So because there's 2 numbers in the middle, to find the median of this set of data, I need to add those 2 numbers together, 36 plus 39, which equals 75, and then divide by 2 to find their average. So 37.5 falls right in the middle of this data. That's going to be our median. Now let's analyze Season 39. Here are all the contestants from Survivor Island of the Idols. I have also added all of their ages now here for you in yellow in the bottom right. And remember that one of the most important steps to analyzing data in a set is to list them from least to greatest. And there you go, it is now on the bottom for you. You can see that the youngest contestant was 23 years old and the oldest contestant was 60. There are also 20 numbers in this data set, so to find the mean, we're going to add all of the numbers together and divide by 20. If you want to pause the slide and see if you can calculate the mean yourself, please feel free to do so. If not, I'm going to continue on. If I add all of these numbers in the set together, 23 all the way through 60, the sum becomes 681. I'm now going to divide that by 20 to discover that the mean or average age of the contestants on Survivor Island of the Idols was 34.05 years old. The median, or the middle of this set of data, because I know that there's 20 of them, I'm going to find that by highlighting 10 on this side and 10 on this side. Remember, you can also do this by crossing off on each side as you go, but since I know there's 20, I felt that was easier. And then the middle is right there in between 29 and 32. So to find the median, I need to add those 2 numbers together and divide by 2 to see that the median age of Survivor Island of the Idols was 30.5 years old. So let's compare. Season 40 had a mean or average age of 37.8 years old with its contestants, and season 35 had a mean of 34.05 years old. So already I can tell that the average age of the contestants on season 40 is higher, or the contestants are older than those who are on season 39. That doesn't mean that every contestant is older, but it means that on average, the season 40 contestants are a little older than that of season 39. The median for season 40 was 37.5 years old, where it was 30.5 years old on season 39. So again, it shows that the contestants were younger on season 39, but that also tells us a little something more. By looking at how the mean and the median are so close together on season 40 and a little bit farther apart on season 39, it lets you know that the data is a little bit more spread out on season 39, like the ages are more varied, where on season 40, the ages of the contestants are more clustered together. Now we're going to compare the two seasons' ages using measures of spread. Here's that same list of data that shows you the ages of the contestants on season 40, and we're first going to calculate their range. Remember, all we need to do to calculate the range is take the biggest number minus the smallest number. The largest number in this set is 48, and the smallest number is 28. So to calculate the range, we're simply taking 48 minus 28 to see that we have a range of 20. The next thing we're going to calculate is the interquartile range, which is a little bit trickier. To calculate that, you take the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So here's that list of data again. Remember that knowing that this has 20 pieces of data, the upper half of our data contains 10 pieces of information, and our lower half of data contains 10 pieces of information. So I'm going to highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. That's going to be our lower half of data. And this 10 is going to be our higher half of data. The upper quartile, which is highlighted in blue, to find the upper quartile, we're going to find the median of that upper half of data. To do that, we can cross off as we go until we get to 1 or 2 numbers in the middle. Because we have an even set, we are going to end up with 2 for this one. We have 43 and 44. So to calculate the median for the upper half of the data, which is going to end up giving us our upper quartile, you can add 43 plus 44, which is 85, and divide by 2. Or you could simply look at this and know that in between 43 and 44 is 43 and a half. Now we're going to look at our lower half of data and find the median, which will be our lower quartile. The same thing, I'm going to cross off as I go until I get to the middle. Because this is an even number, we are still going to end up with 2 pieces of information in the middle. And in between 33 and 34 is 33.5. You can also calculate that by adding them together and dividing by 2. So in order to find the interquartile range, we need to subtract the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. 43.5 minus 33.5 equals 10. So we've calculated that the interquartile range is 10 and our range is 20 for season 40. Now let's do the same thing with season 39. Here's our set of data. We're going to first calculate our range. Remember that that's simply taking our biggest number and subtracting our smallest number. To find out that 60 minus 23 is 37, so 37 is our range. Now we're going to calculate our interquartile range, upper quartile minus the lower quartile. And again, since we know there's 20 pieces of information here, I'm going to highlight each one. This is my lower quartile, so I'm going to highlight that in yellow. And my upper quartile is 10 pieces of information as well. The median of the upper quartile will give me the median of the upper half of data will give me my upper quartile. So we're going to cross off till we get to the middle. So in between 36 and 37 is where my median is going to be located. You can add them together to see that 36 plus 37 gives you 73. Divide by 2, and you're going to get 36.5. Or you can just see that in between 36 and 37 would be 36 and a half. We're going to do the same thing on the other side of the data here until we get to the middle. And in between 26 and 27 is 26 and a half. So our interquartile range is going to be found by calculating 36.5 minus 26.5, which equals 10. So our interquartile range was 10 and our range was 37. So let's compare everything now. We already talked about the mean and the median, which kind of showed us two things. One, that the contestants on season 40 were a little older, and two, that the contestant ages on season 39 were more spread out. Now, looking at the range, that also lets you know how spread out the ages of season 39 was. If you remember, the youngest contestant on season 39 was only 23, while the oldest contestant was 60. The range on season 40 was a lot smaller. Now, what's interesting is if you look, both pieces of data, or both lists of data, had the same interquartile range of 10. What that means is 50% of the data, that middle chunk of data, is exactly spread out the same for season 40 and season 39. Here's what the information on the previous slides would look like if we put them on box plots. Something I want you to note, we already talked about how the ages of the contestants on season 39 was more spread out, and the fact that this really long whisker here on our box plot goes all the way from here to here, that lets you know how varied those ages are. Something I want you to be careful with, if you look at season 40, you'll notice they're counting by twos on the bottom here. Well, here they're counting by fives on season 39. Don't let that deceive you, because if you look at the range, season 39's range goes all the way from 23 to 60, which we already calculated was 37, and the range of season 40 is from 28 to 48, which is only 20. So don't let the size of a box plot fool you. Make sure you are paying attention to little details like that. Remember that you can tell all kinds of things from a box plot. You can see the median of this is right at 37. The median of this one was just over 30. The lower quartile is here, and your upper quartile is here. Those are the kind of things that you can see on a box plot. And here's what the same information would look like if we displayed it using histograms. I wanted to show this to you because this type of graph makes it very evident that by looking at season 40, all of the ages are clustered together in one cluster, whereas in season 39, we have a cluster here and a cluster here. So you can see how much more varied the ages of the contestants were on season 39. The histogram makes a really good display of that. All right, you've done it. You've outlasted this lesson. Please complete your Edgenuity lesson on summarizing data sets with statistics. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me on Edmodo or send me an email. Have a great day.